Okay, things are moving on quite well with this accordion. So the reed blocks have been finished for the treble side, so those have already been all sorted out, so they've all now been re-waxed, so all the reeds are in on the treble side, so that's good. Going to leave them 24 hours before we do anything else with them, let that wax just go completely salted. And so the next little task is to have a look at the pallets. So the pallets on this accordion need to be replaced. There were half of them at least with tape on, so that needs to be done properly. So I'm going to take the grill off, just put that somewhere carefully out of the way. Here we go. Now what I'm going to do first of all is get rid of any bits of dust. It's quite dusty. From all that. So that's all. Should have done that really. Now then, what I'm going to do is get my pencil and I'm going to mark each pallet with a number. In fact, what I might do, if I can find my pencil sharpener, let's just make it a bit sharper. I'm going to mark each pallet with a number so that each pallet will then go back into place it came from, and it's just because I don't want to have any fuss about it not quite sorting and fitting properly. So when these pallets were fitted, they might have had some bending of the arms, or don't get a sneeze. Excuse me, sorry about that. Blooming heck. Anyway, moving on. So when the pallets were fitted originally, they might have been some bending of the arms. I think the dust has got in my nose. To make them fit. And so if I put them back in the same order, I'm not going to come across any problems. If I just take them all off and then put them back in any order, just might be some slight differences, and it just might not be quite as good as it could be. So if you just label all the pallets and put them on in the same order, you're just reducing the risk of something going a bit weird and you have to do some bending of the arms and things. So I'm going to start in here, just going to number them 1 to 34, and so I'll just do that. I wouldn't film me doing that, but I'm just going to number them all. Okay, now they've all been numbered, and now it's just a question of getting them off. And to get them off, what I normally do is just push the key, and then you can just give them a little twist. Off it comes. So I'm just going to put those down, go along, twist it both ways. There we go. And then I'm just going to go along, just twist those off. So I'm going to go along and take off the pallets. I'll put them in order as I get them off, just so I can just check the numbering. And when I've got them, I'm going to do the outer row first, because I can't get to them ones until I've got them ones off. So I'm going to take them all off and show you what it looks like. Okay, so all the pallets have come off, and all the arms have now just got the bits of steel. Now this next bit is just a cleaning task. So what you need to do is find a knife, sharp blade. Let's get a couple. And first of all, with the pallets, just need to take away any of the kind of residue of glue that was in there, and particularly in the slot where the arm goes. You want to get rid of everything in there, because when you refix it, you want that steel bar to go right to the bottom of the slot, otherwise you'll start getting uneven heights and things. So just really careful to clean everything up, clean out the slots. So that's what I'm going to do next, just to get all the pallets on the top surface clean. And the other thing is on the arms themselves, they still got residue of glue and stuff, so it's just a cleaning thing. Get rid of all the bits and bobs and just scrape off any bits of the excess glue and anything, just make them really clean. And as you noticed, I haven't got the reed blocks in, You don't want the reed blocks in at this point at all, because as you start cleaning everything up, all bits of stuff can just fall through those holes, and you don't want that going into the reeds and everything else. So the reed blocks are well away, so you can just concentrate on just the pallets. So my next little job is going to be cleaning up the pallets on the outside bit and the arms, and I'll show you when I've done that. And then after that I'll be taking off the leather before fitting on some new facing. So let me just do some cleaning off camera and show you what it looks like. Okay, now I've cleaned up all the pallets, and the last thing is to get the leather off the pallets, because I'm going to clean it all up and then put new pallet facing, which will be a combination of felt and leather. So I just want to first of all peel off what I can, and then I'm going to get a blade, and the way I normally do this is just to scrape. Oh, so you can't see what I'm doing here. Hang on a minute. Just scrape until you get all the leftover leather off, so you've got a nice smooth clean surface to be gluing the new pallet facing on. So once that's all scraped nice and clean, then I'll show you my pallets just here. They're all pretty much ready. I've just got a few more left to do. So they're going to be prepared, and then the next thing is to get the facing material ready. So I'm just going to get that ready, and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, now on to the next bit. Need to make some pallet facing material. So first of all, I've got some here that I bought, which is kind of like nice quality soft leather with felt attached to it. Now this is really nice. I got it from CGM Musical, but it's expensive, really expensive. And I thought, well, I could do this. So what I've bought is some really nice thin soft leather, high quality soft leather. So I just bought a piece that big, cost me about £4, really nice. And I've got some felt from just a local material shop, just some standard felt. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make my own pallet facing material. So I'm going to stick the soft leather onto the felt using some white PVA glue, put a weight on top of it, leave it for an hour or two, and then I'm going to use that as my facing material. I've got some that I've made already, so I've got a little bit left over from our previous one, so it just looks like this. But it's nice, works perfectly well. So you get a bit of felt and you get the kind of leather, so you get that nice cushioning. So I'm going to use that bit anyway because I've got that left over, but I'll just make some more. Now what I've got to do, that I've got a big bit of pine, which I'm going to use as a weight for gluing it together. I've got my felt and my leather. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the felt and leather just using a pair of nice sharp scissors so that it matches the size of the wooden plank, so that I can just get a constant pressure on it. So I'm just going to cut that out. I'll just do that off camera so I just get it right, and then I'll show you how I'm going to glue it together. Okay, so I've got my trusty Eileen's original tacky glue. So I'm going to use some of this because it is good. Put it on my little trusty plastic upside down pot. Come on. Hang on a minute. Enough. I've just got an old brush. And I'm just going to brush it onto the felt. Just do a nice even. Ooh, need quite a lot. So a nice even. Right, so this is quite a lot of glue on this felt because it's quite a big bit. So just going to get this all glued up. Ooh, a bit messy. Actually, I might just do this. I'll stop this recording for a minute because it'll take a little while. Just going to get the felt glued up. Okay, slightly messy job, and one thing I realised it's actually easier to put the glue onto the leather than the felt, because the felt just soaks it up, and also fingers are really good things for spreading PVA glue, so I just remembered that from before. So I'm going to just put the felt evenly on top of the leather. Pop that down. So that's going to be a nice bond, and I'm going to get my plank. I've just measured it so that's a nice fit, like so, and I've just got some big old weights. Just add a little bit of pressure to that. So I'm going to leave that for probably an hour or so, and then when that's done, I'll have some nice facing material all ready to put onto the pallets. So this is it's a nice process. It's really kind of quite rewarding, because you just getting these pallets really nice, and once they've been refaced with the felt and the leather combo and then put back onto the key arms, everything just really works right nicely. You get a nice soft touch on the action, and the sealing should be really nice, and it looks tidy. So yeah, it's a nice process. I like doing this, and yeah, I'll show you what the face material looks like in a minute. Okay, that came out really well. So I've just got a nice soft leather with the felt backing, not too thick, just perfect. So I'm really pleased with that. I think it's going to work really well as a facing material. So the next step is to start to glue the pallets onto the material. So I'm going to glue them onto the felt, and the way to do is put the PVA glue on the pallet and then arrange them on the felt so that they are making the maximum use of the space, so you're not going to waste too much of it. So I'm just going to do a bit of fiddling around and work out which way they should go. So basically how many I can get one way or the other. So that's 2.5, so that's not really going to be great. Let's see how many I get this way. So I just don't have too much waste. It's difficult. Not that easy. I think I'm going to go the first way. And so what I'm going to do is arrange them in the best way that I can to avoid wasting too much with little funny bits at the end, and then put some pressure on them, glue on the pallets, put some pressure on it, and leave it for a bit to just set. So what I'll do is I'll start off with my first few, and I'm going to get some glue ready. So again, use my little pot to get the glue. There we go. Oh, this pot's getting a bit low. Find my little brush. Where's my little brush? There he is. Okay, let's start. Here we go. So just put a nice even coating of PV. Well, this is Eileen's tacky glue. I find it's really good. Actually, I remember now. I think I'm going to use my fingers. That's better. Fingers are brilliant at spreading PVA. So put that in the corner. I'll push it down, and once I've got them all on, I'm going to put some weights on the top. So I'll just put them on, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so all of the pallets are now onto the material, and they've all been glued with Eileen's tacky glue, which is very good. I've got a little bit of weight on the top, just to add a bit of pressure, and a couple of my big old weights just to hold it down, and leave that again for about an hour or so. Leave that to set, and then that will be ready. And the last little step is then to fix the pallets back onto the arms, and to do that I think my method is going to be a hot glue gun, so I'll show you that when I get to it. Hello, this is it's quite a lengthy process, this old pallet making jobby thingy bobblies, but anyway, I've got the pallets are now nicely stuck. It's all looking good, all looking soft and flexible, but really nice, happy with that. So the next thing is just to get a very sharp knife, sharper the better. Just be very careful. I'm just going to carefully cut around the felt and just get it, the felt cut and the leather really close to the edge of the pallet, so that you don't want to have the face material sticking out the edges of the pallet, because then one pallet will start to catch on the next one. So it has to be as close to the edge of the pallet as you possibly get it, right up against the edge, so that when you put it on, the one pallet won't stick against another one. So I'm just going to go around carefully and cut them all out. I'll show you what they look like in a sec. Okay, here we go. The last little bit. So I've trimmed all of the pallets, and they're all ready to go, looking nice and neat. They're all in number order, so I know which part of the treble side I'm going to put them onto, which bar they're going to go onto. So the last thing is I've got my hot glue gun just finishing off warming up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the first pallet that I'm going to fit, and I'm going to put some hot glue into the slot, and then quickly pop it into the accordion, and then push the arm, the metal arm, down into the slot on top of the hot glue, and that's going to give me the nice seal between the metal arm and the pallet. That's kind of glue, if you like, but the hot glue is quite a flexible glue when it's finished, when it's dry. It's kind of still got a bit of flexibility to it, which will be helpful for the pallets being on the arm, so that they'll stop them from just cracking off, and just give a little bit of flexibility there. So that would be really nice. So the hot glue is just now warmed up, so I'll do the first one. Just work out which one I'll get it into, which is that one there. So I'm going to get my pallet, and you've got to act quite quickly, because the hot glue will go off fairly quickly. So here we go. Let's see if I can get this done nice and quick. So hot glue in the slot. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Pop it in. There we go, done. First one in. So you have to be pretty quick. So once you've got it there, that's in. Not going to go anywhere. So I'm going to get the next one ready. So I'm going to go along and do all of them, and start with the inside row and then the outside one, and see how far I can get. Oh, well, I'll get to the end, but I'm just going to keep going. So I'll just do all of them the same way. I might just do one more, just to demonstrate. So I've got my pallet ready. So I'm going to put the hot glue into the slot. Slide it in. easy as that. Right, okay, I'll do the rest of it off camera because it's just repeating the same thing over and over again. So, and when I've done it all, I'll show you what it looks like. And there we go. So that's all of the pallets are now all in the right place. That's looking nice, and if I turn it up, you can see all the green leather in the pallet holes. If I just hold that up to the light like this, hold it to a bright light, I'm just looking to see if I've got any weird gaps or any light chinking through, and that all looks like it's nice and secure. So I'm happy with that. So I think that's going to be fine. So that's my refacing of the pallets. So thanks for watching.